的剑法，有了神便再至，心中
就是你的致命弱点。
妈呀！才是你真正的背影。
Hi everyone, welcome to Donghua Nexus. The earlier duel between Sword Daozi and Kinmu ended in shocking fashion. Daozi's blade managed only to tear Kinmu's brocade robe, unable to pierce his flesh. By contrast, Daozi's own body was riddled with dozens of wounds until he collapsed. Seeing this, Kinmu withdrew his sword chi, bowed humbly, and sincerely acknowledged his opponent. Daozi returned the bow, refused Yangzi's helping hand, then swallowed a healing pill before departing with his brother beneath a bamboo hat. From afar, Kinmu could only watch. His own body still felt weak, his vital chi depleted by the sword technique shaking mountains and rivers. Pain throbbed in his shoulder, making him stagger until he accidentally leaned against what he thought was a Kilin dragon statue. Yet it was no statue. It stirred, revealing itself to be a living creature slumbering in disguise. The Kilin dragon licked Kinmu's wounds. Miraculously, his injuries began to close, torn flesh and fractured bone regenerating as though treated by some heavenly elixir. Both startled and awed, Kinmu tried coaxing the beast for more of its healing saliva, even offering fruit. But the Kilin desired something else, a great green ox that roamed the mountain. Kinmu recalled glimpsing the beast before and resolved to ask Hulinger about it. Meanwhile, at the mountain's foot, Imperial Academy disciples busily discussed their newfound strength after training. Ling Yusu, among them, doubted he could ever surpass Daozi. When Kinmu passed by, he remarked with disdain that despite Kinmu's talent, coming from the great ruins made him unworthy of approaching his sister. Elsewhere, students were shocked to find Daozi and Yangzi suddenly vanished. Ling Yusu speculated that Daozi must have been defeated. Names of possible victors spread wildly: masters from the divine arts residence, imperial generals, even whispers of the emperor's own disciples. Yet the truth remained hidden. Not far away, Daozi and Yangzi encountered two monks walking upon water, one old, one young. The elder, his face grave, learned they could not remain long within the Imperial Academy. With his disciple Fozi, he resolved to head there himself. Within the academy, news of Daozi's departure brought relief, but the mystery of the victor fueled wild rumors. Some accused a prince, others the mad sword Xiao Yin, still others suspected an imperial master's secret intervention. Chen Wanyin denied any involvement, claiming he had collapsed from exhaustion in training. Some scholars mocked Kinmu, saying he had only refined vital chi into threads. Yet others whispered that perhaps he was the one who felled Daozi. When the young monk Fozi arrived at the mountain gate, tensions rose. Chen Wanyin boldly challenged him. Their battle raged through more than a dozen rounds. Though Chen Wanyin managed to shatter Fozi's diamond body, he was ultimately defeated. Even so, his feat earned him a place among the top 10 young experts and drew the eyes of nobles. Elsewhere, Hulinger led Kinmu to the rear mountain, where a colossal green ox guarded the vegetable fields. Its jade-hued hide gleamed, dragon scales bristled along its neck, and its breath glowed white. The moment it saw them, it charged. Hulinger fled in terror, leaving Kinmu battered as he dodged blow after blow. Fortunately, the beast eventually returned to its post, even greeting Chancellor Bossen politely when he arrived. Bruised and sore, Kinmu returned to the humble hut of the young patriarch. Their conversation turned to the fleeting nature of life and the peace of simple living, But news soon broke. 2 monks of the Great Thunder Monastery had arrived. The patriarch urged Kinmu to prepare to face Fozi, but Kinmu pleaded injury, joking that their academy should retaliate by blockading the enemy's gate in return. The patriarch laughed and scolded him in equal measure, but further talk was cut short when another message arrived. Emperor Yan Feng had appointed Gulin Wan as the new Grand Chancellor, despite the man's past disgrace of losing the imperial sword. The decree carried a warning: if he failed, his head would pay the price. Thus the tale shifted into a new chapter. Great figures began to stir, and Kinmu's name surfaced ever more frequently within circles of power and rumor. Later, Kinmu brought Hullinger to the treasury, handing him a special recipe to purchase rare herbs. His face solemn, he explained his intent to refine a fearsome anesthetic said to paralyze even a flood dragon. Yet because the concoction's aroma was dangerously potent, he needed a sealed pill furnace. Hullinger, puzzled, asked why. Kinmu answered calmly, "If it isn't sealed, even a high-level cultivator could collapse merely from inhaling the fumes." Lacking such a furnace, Kinmu planned to borrow one from the healing hall. Just as he was leaving, an imperial physician stopped him, requesting Kinmu to lecture that afternoon. Kinmu refused, claiming he was busy refining medicine. Intrigued, the physician followed. When they arrived, it wasn't just one. All the imperial physicians awaited him. They believed Kinmu was about to demonstrate a rare alchemical art. With eager eyes, they flooded him with questions. Physician Yu finally presented a sealed stone furnace. Kinmu examined it, then nodded in satisfaction. He began arranging the ingredients according to the principles of the 8 trigrams and the 5 elements, before drawing subterranean fire to heat the cauldron. His hand movements were precise, captivating all the physicians. Hullinger merely observed from the corner, while the physicians diligently took notes. "I only use 13 points to extract the essence of the medicinal stones. My cultivation is not yet high enough to handle more than that." That simple explanation only deepened their awe. One physician cried out in shock when he recognized the legendary hand technique Dragon and Tiger in Mutual Aid, thought to have been lost for 2 centuries. To Kinmu, it was nothing extraordinary. He only smiled and said that his physician grandfather had emphasized understanding over rote memorization of recipes. The process reached its final stage. Kinmu channeled his black tortoise vital qi to cool the furnace, then lifted the lid. A pink mist billowed out. He quickly drew it into a jade bottle and sealed it with a layer of black ice. The anesthetic was complete. With only a brief farewell, Kinmu departed, leaving the physicians still entranced. Yet no sooner had he gone than they rushed to imitate him. They gathered ingredients, cleansed the furnace, and attempted to mimic Kinmu's movements. At first, everything seemed flawless. But when the furnace was opened, the medicinal vapor surged out violently. One by one, the physicians collapsed. Even scholars who happened to be present fell unconscious. Within moments, the healing hall was littered with fainted bodies. Panic spread. Some ran for help. But upon returning and inhaling even a trace of the fumes, they too crumpled. Monk Faking and his disciple tried to rescue the victims, only to collapse at the doorway. News spread swiftly. Directorate members and other institutions rushed to the scene. Chancellor Bossen arrived, nearly in tears at the sight of hundreds of unconscious figures. The air grew thicker and more dangerous, until at last, a mysterious gourd bottle appeared in the sky, sucking away the poisonous vapor in an instant. The academy was saved, though chaos reigned. Soon after, the young patriarch arrived. He immediately recognized the scent as Kinmu's work, the disciple of the Poison King. And indeed, Kinmu emerged, dragging behind him a paralyzed green ox. Seeing the havoc, he tried to slip away, but was quickly caught. The patriarch, restraining his fury, ordered him to stand in the corner as punishment before interrogation began. Kinmu tried to deflect blame onto the imperial physicians, but it was obvious only he could have refined such a potent drug. In the end, to prevent further disaster, the patriarch instructed Chancellor Bossen to keep Kinmu under close watch for the next 2 months. The turmoil gradually eased. The unconscious began to stir, weak but alive. Now, the imperial physicians truly respected Kinmu. They realized that had he been refining poison instead of anesthetic, half the academy's elites might already be dead. Yet the commotion was not over. Shocking news spread. Fozi and monk Jingming had departed the academy gates before even 3 days had passed. Everyone was stunned. Who could possibly defeat Fozi? Kinmu felt uneasy, for at that time he himself had been busy subduing the green ox. The only plausible answer was that another mysterious figure dwelled within the academy. Not long after, Si Yunsheng, the quiet girl who had entered alongside Kinmu, approached and asked, "Was it you who defeated Fozi?" Kinmu only smiled, dodging the question with teasing banter, but he soon realized Yinxiang had been completely unaffected by the anesthetic fumes, which meant she was the one. Rather than expose her, Kinmu chose silence, watching to see what Yun Sang would do next. At that moment, Chancellor Bossen arrived, carrying his belongings and dragging along the still crippled green ox. With shameless ease, he declared that he would live with Kinmu to supervise him. From that day onward, Kinmu's house became the liveliest place in the academy. Basson gossiped incessantly. Hullinger bonded with the green ox, and the two of them often drank together until drunk. Amidst the ruckus, Kinmu could only smile wryly, then return to his meditation. That night, after several cups of wine, the drunken Chancellor Bossen suddenly grew enamored of Kinmu's knife techniques. Drawing his own blade, he challenged Kinmu with the 6th form of the pig-slaughtering knife art. Sparks flew as their blades clashed, lightning-like arcs dancing in the air. Yet the duel ended in an instant. Both sheathed their knives simultaneously, exchanged respectful bows, and the night fell silent once more. "Junior brother," Bassan greeted. "Senior brother," Kinmu replied calmly. They sat side by side, discussing the condition of their master, Kang Juggle. Kinmu explained that although Juggle's lower body was gone, his cultivation remained so profound that he could still move swiftly using only his arms. Bossen was stunned, then brought up the past. Their master's body had been stolen by a disciple of another sect. He asked if Kinmu could restore it. Kinmu slowly shook his head. If the severing were recent, there would still be hope. But after so long, the chance is nearly none. Bassan's disappointment showed, but his resolve did not waver. He swore to find his master's missing body, even sending men to investigate the sect that had stolen it. Kinmu only nodded, hoping the body would truly be recovered, even if it could never be fully restored. When Kinmu asked Joggle's true name, Bossen admitted he did not know. Their master had hidden his real name, for he had enemies who could wound him merely by knowing it. Kinmu suspected those foes came from the barbarian lands, but said no more. A few days later, Kinmu continued training in the sword arts taught by the imperial master. He had already mastered the spiral form and was now practicing 2 others. From afar, Bassan, drunk on wine, watched with fascination. Sometimes Kinmu's movements flowed like a swimming fish, sometimes soared like a flying swan, then transformed into a dragon piercing the clouds. His sword foundation was so solid that Bassan nodded in approval. Sweat trickled down Kinmu's face. He wiped it away with the fragrant handkerchief given by Ling Yuxiu. At that moment, Basan suddenly asked, "Junior brother, you were the one who defeated Daozi and Fozi, weren't you?" Kinmu could not evade. He admitted to defeating Daozi, but claimed ignorance about Fozi. Basan merely laughed, for the truth was already clear from Kinmu's swordsmanship. Then Basan challenged him to a duel. Kinmu agreed, but only picked up a wooden stick in place of a sword. In an instant, the explosion of energy shattered the doors and walls of his residence. Scholars rushed out in delight, eager to see Kinmu humiliated. Yet it was Basan who ended up covered in dust, while Kinmu remained calm. Basan praised Kinmu's strength, though he pointed out a small flaw in his left shoulder. Those words were quickly noted by the eavesdropping scholars. Among them, Chen Wanyin sighed in relief, finally knowing Kinmu's weakness. Basan introduced him to Kinmu, calling him a gifted disciple he had personally trained. Then Basan revealed something shocking. According to the lineage of instruction, you should call him senior uncle, not senior brother. Chen Wanyun objected, for to him, strength alone determined seniority. But Basan insisted, though Kinmu's cultivation was still young, his position was one tier higher. Chen Wanyun tried to challenge him, but Basan only laughed. "You'll lose. He stands on the same level as Daozi and Fozi." Kinmu quickly stopped Basan before he could spill more secrets. Not long after, Basan began explaining his vision of establishing an imperial academy, a new institution to train gifted disciples under direct guidance of masters, breaking free from the rigid uniform system. He even offered Kinmu the honor of being its very first academician. Such words unsettled many. The scholars, once defeated by Kinmu, refused to remain silent. One evening, they ambushed him in a narrow alley, swords in hand, hatred in their eyes. Yan King He stepped forward, sneering, "Your weakness has been exposed. This time, you won't escape." Kinmu only gave a thin smile. "Your name?" he asked. "Good. Remember that it was I, Kinmu, who defeated you." One strike sent Yan Qinghe crashing into a wall, pinned helplessly. Wei Yang, who happened to pass by, trembled and quickly swore he would spread nothing. But Basan appeared from behind, ordering him to stay silent. The truth came out. Kinmu's weakness had been leaked deliberately, as bait to lure talented disciples who could withstand at least 3 exchanges. The battle erupted. The scholars attacked one after another, but each fell in a single move. The builders repairing Kinmu's residence shouted in frustration as walls collapsed yet again, while Kinmu politely apologized each time. At last, Yu Qinghong, with her flying sword and wolf servant, challenged Kinmu. Yet his vital qi, refined into razor-sharp threads, shattered their formation. The fight spilled further, drawing in monk Yunku, who arrogantly interfered. Misfortune struck him instead. Kinmu's single blow hurled him naked into a wall where he fainted face first. One by one, his opponents fell. Only Wei Yang remained, and at last dared to fight. Though defeated, he gained much from the duel, even receiving guidance from Kinmu mid-battle. When the fighting ended, silence filled the alley. Yu Qinghong admitted Kinmu's greatness, while monk Yunku fled home in shame. Basan, who had secretly been observing all along, merely smiled. In his mind, he was already counting the disciples worthy to become the foundation of his future imperial academy. This text is a reworked narrative adaptation written in wuxia xianxia style for smoother reading and listening. It does not claim any original source. All phrasing, flow, and development have been reshaped into a new, standalone piece of storytelling.
寻克法可，人的剑法 了神。